We live because we eat, but those men and women who feed the entire nation are wholly disappointed and have taken to the streets. Today, thousands of farmers protesting against the controversial farm laws in Delhi-Haryana border are observing Bharat Bandh with the intention to widen their protests. When we see thousands of farmers camping on the outskirts of Delhi, we doubt whether the BJP at the centre is planning to go back on its tall promise made to the nation and its farming community. Back in 2016, Prime Minister Narendra Modi at a kisan rally in Uttar Pradesh spoke of his dream to double the income of India's farmers by 2022. Later, many central leaders also reiterated this vision. Now you'll be thinking, if the intention of the central government is pure, then why the farmers are running out of patience? Or why are they currently staging protests? We know the row over agricultural bills remain unsettled since the parliament passed those farm reform bills in September. The three contentious agricultural bills face staunch opposition from within the ruling coalition, with the resigning of Senior Minister Harsimrat Kaur Badal in protest. Meanwhile, the Congress and the long-time BJP ally Shiromani Akali Dal have termed these reforms as anti-farmer, anti-people laws. Let's see what is Farm Bill all about and why it triggered an agricultural discontent. First, we have the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill. It permits the farmers to sell their produce outside the notified Agricultural Produce Market Committee regulated markets. The APMCs are government-controlled marketing yards or mandis. The bill provides the farmers more choice on who they want to sell, and farmers will not be charged any cess or levy for sale of their produce. The bill in fact reduces marketing costs and helps the farmers get better prices. But according to those who oppose the bills, states will lose revenue from mandi fees if farmers sell their produce outside registered APMC markets. In case of the entire trade moving out of the mandis, the commission agents will also have to suffer loss. Most importantly, the weakening of APMC system by subjecting it to competition will have a resultant bearing on minimum support price or MSP. The farmers and opposition parties equally fear that it may lead to the end of the MSP-based procurement system. This may further lead to exploitation by corporates. Secondly, we have the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement of Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill. It makes provisions for the setting up of a framework for contract farming. It allows a farmer to strike a deal with agri-business firms, processors, wholesalers, exporters, or large retailers even before the production happens. The bill has sought to transfer the risk of market unpredictability from farmers to ordained buyers. It further boosts farmer income by reducing the cost of marketing. The bill was opposed, saying it will weaken the negotiating power of farmers. And it was also alleged that this law is framed to benefit big corporates who seek to dominate the Indian food and agriculture business. And the last one, the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill, has removed commodities like cereals, pulses, oilseeds, onion, and potatoes from the list of essential commodities, and also has done away with the imposition of stock holding limits on such items except under extraordinary circumstances like war, famine, natural calamity, and extraordinary price hike. It seems that it is aimed at attracting private investment into the farm sector and to bring price stability. The version of the opposition is that the bill gives big companies the freedom to stock commodities. Now, despite the severe opposition raised from all corners, the Narendra Modi government stood firm on this stand without repealing the controversial farm bills that even triggered a farmer crusade. It has been opined by some experts that the BJP government at the centre might have probably intended to bring a whole lot of fortune to the farmers by liberalising access to agricultural markets, removing existing barriers to storage of agricultural produce, and facilitating storage of agricultural produce. But the organised farmers' bodies who lost the trust in the government find it tough to sing with the government's reasoning. They have resolved to intensify the agitation against 3 farm laws hastily enacted by the union government. The major concern of the farmers is about the possible withdrawal of the minimum support price or MSP, and thereby dismantling the public procurement of grains. If that happens, they will be left at the mercy of the corporate interests. They also allege that the bills are a ploy of the government to allow free market operations, which will play a greater role in determining prices. The middlemen are also affected with fears of losing their job. On the other hand, the government assures that the MSP procurement system will continue, and there is absolutely no plan to dismantle the system. The MSP regime guarantees an assured income to the farmers. If the farmers don't get a better price in the markets for the crops covered under MSP, the government would buy their agricultural produce at a fixed rate. Though the Narendra Modi government had increased the MSP for Rabi crops and 14 Kharif crops this year, thousands of farmers are still sitting at the Delhi borders awaiting a concrete proposal from the government to roll back the 3 farm laws. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had stated that the farm reform bills passed in the parliament were historic and the road to 21st century. Modi had also stressed that earlier agricultural laws had chained the farmers, and middlemen were taking advantage of the archaic laws. And now, through the reforms, new freedom had been given to the farmers who would have more options to sell their produce. They can sell their produce either in local mandis or beyond. Narendra Modi had earlier opined that some people stood against the reform bills, thinking that their control over farmers would slip away from their hands. Dimming the hopes of a compromise, the last discussion held between farmers and the central ministers on the 10th day of their ongoing protests entered inconclusive. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar had said the government has no ego and the government is willing to listen to all concerns of the farmers regarding these laws and has offered to make changes to the laws. But the farmers rejecting the centre's proposal to amend the 3 contingent agriculture laws demanded for a complete repeal of the 3 laws. The states in opposition opined that agriculture being a joint responsibility of both states and the centre, and as issues related to the farming community have a greater bearing on the state relative to the centre, the BJP government at the centre should have sought the consensus of all the states before passing the bill. The discontentment with the reform bills is not just confined to Punjab, Haryana and other northern states. Rather, Kerala government is also likely to move the Supreme Court against these farm reform laws. Food security is considered a major component of national security by all nations, and agriculture the backbone of the Indian economy. The experts opine that if the government is willing to make amendments in the acts, then apart from addressing the MSP issue, the centre should also consider the absence of a regulatory mechanism and the lack of transparency in trade area transactions. It is equally significant for the government to regain the trust of the farmers and the states by adopting a conciliatory approach. Anyways, the farmers' unions want nothing short of a complete rollback of the recently enacted Farm Acts. In such a context, we have to wait and see whether the champions of production who staged strong agitation on the outskirts of Delhi, withstanding severe winter and COVID pandemic, will be pacified after the next round of talks scheduled on December 9th.